doing time, running around blind. Such a beautiful mind, he can change the world. Steady's doing time, running around blind. Such a beautiful mind, change the world. 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 Such a beautiful mind.
Good morning, guys. How's everybody doing today? Doing all right? Well, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Matthew Braden. I'm the chairman of Gogi. And first, I'd like to say thank you all for being here. It's great to see your faces. And I know Red gave a little bit of an intro, but I want to make sure everyone knows why they're here, what's going on today. If you received a ducat to be here this morning, it's because you signed up to attend the Gogi seminar. And because these proposals need to be submitted so far in advance, this was probably at least 2 to 3 months ago. So thank you for being patient. As you can see, we have some guests from the Gogi organization, and in a few minutes they'll be getting up here, introducing themselves to you, and speaking a little bit about Gogi. I know for a lot of us, we can interpret Gogi quite literally. Getting out of prison by going in, right? Finding the answers within ourselves. And it's true, Gogi can and does have that effect. We have had numerous participants and graduates of our program go to board and credit their being found suitable to Gogi and the application of its tools. However, one thing I do want to point out is that Gogi is not simply a program that is designed to help inmates get out of prison. It's much more than that. It's not meant for you to go through a 12-week cycle, go to graduation, get a chrono, and that's it. You're done with the tools. Gogi is more of a way of life. And the reason I say this is because most of you, if not every single person in this gym, will be getting out of prison one day. And the truth is, most of the prisons that people live in, they're not man-made. They have nothing to do with concrete, steel, or gun towers. Instead, their prisons are internal. They're created by the mind. And these mentally constructed prisons are much more detrimental to our well-being than these rickety walls of Soledad ever could be. And I know with the utmost of certainty that there are people currently living in prison who are more mentally free than some people out there in the free world who have never even seen the inside of a jail cell. In essence, your freedom, your true freedom, has very little, if anything at all, to do with your environment. So some of you might be saying, okay, great. How's Gogi play into any of this? Well, for those of you who may have attended any of our seminars in the past, you know that Gogi isn't just a prison nil tag. It's a 501c3 organization, a nonprofit out there on the street. And Coach Taylor, the founder of Gogi, she's not just a kind-hearted individual who's interested in prison reform. She's also a psychologist. She graduated from Pepperdine University. As a result, each and every one of the Gogi tools are based on very common, well-known psychological principles. They're grounded in solid, evidence-based behavioral techniques. So what does that mean? Well, it means that there's really nothing new about these Gogi tools. In fact, I'm sure many of you have used most of them at some point in your lives. Didn't even realize it. But what Coach Taylor did while working with inmates in Terminal Island back in 2005 was design a curriculum that simplifies and attaches a concrete name to these tools. This makes them not only easy to remember and apply to your life, but it makes them very tangible. So whenever you're in difficult situations, you don't have to fumble around with vague or ambiguous ideas of what you think you should do. Instead, with the positive decision-making tools of Gogi, you'll know exactly what actions you should take. Now, I've been facilitating Gogi since 2011, and the overwhelming majority of participants say that their favorite thing about Gogi is the simplification of these otherwise complex strategies. These makes them very easy to remember and apply to their lives. I would now like to invite up our first speaker.
Hi, everybody. I'm Coach Lucero. I'm really nervous, so bear with me. And I'm not going to lie, I wear my heart on my sleeve, so, you know. It's really a privilege to be here today, and I say privilege because I never thought that I could be back on the inside talking to others. I myself am an ex-convict. I've been in and out of institutions for almost 25 years, ever since I was a juvenile. So, yeah, I have a lot in common with you guys. I haven't been out very long, and so that's why it's a privilege for me to be here. I didn't think everything could happen so fast, but this program has completely changed my life, and I want everybody here to know that you guys can do it too, and it starts from the inside. That's how we get out, by going in. I love it, and I'm happy to be here today. My story with Gogi started about 3 years ago. I went into prison after being out for almost 6 years, thinking, oh my God, here I am again. I didn't think I was going back to prison. I caught a charge and tried to fight it out on the street, and I had everything. I had a husband, a house, family, but I was still doing things that weren't productive, but I thought just because I had that, you know, I still should be able to get away with whatever I did and not have to hold myself accountable. But anyway, long story short, I ended up back in prison and was in the R&O unit. I don't know if you have that here, but it's called the reception and observation, where they check you in and you have like a certain amount of time before they put you in population. So while I was in R&O, I experienced a lot of anxiety, depression, didn't know what I was going to do. I'm like, here I am again, what the heck, you know. So I learned about belly breathing, but not through the Gogi way. I just learned, okay, well, this will help with your anxiety, just do it. So I did that for a while, and then I got out and it took away my anxiety. And then I went into population, and a friend of mine was like, you need to go to this class with me. I'm like, okay. She's like, it's called Gogi. So what's Gogi, yoga? I don't want to go do any yoga. I'm not doing no yoga. I don't want to do that yet. And she's like, no, just go. So I went to my first class and learned about boss of my brain. And I thought, no way, this is so cool. I can change my thought process. I can really learn how to use my brain in a different way. My mind doesn't have to be stuck in all this madness and depression and whatever I was going through at the time. And so I started going, and they had me hooked. They had me right there at the gate. So almost towards the end of it, I was really liking it, and I felt that this made sense to me. This is something that I had to do in my life. This is something that I needed, and I wanted to help others do it. So I jumped right in. And then they moved me. They moved me to another facility that had no Gogi. So I thought, well, what do I do? What do I do? Well, that facility I knew was only temporary, so I moved to another facility, which was where I really jumped right in. I wrote to Coach Taylor, and she was my support, her and Coach Carlson. They were my support through everything, corresponding, sent me the books, told me what I needed to do, and just let me do it. And that I knew that I had to take this out with me. I knew we needed it more than just in prison. We needed it out in the street, because to help people, not only, you know, people like us, but people out in the community as well. Everybody needs to know about it. So I started teaching it in that facility and had 3 graduating classes, which was great, because that was a facility where they didn't like us. They wouldn't give me, you guys are so lucky to have this gym and to have, you know, everything here. We had to do it in our tier. It was a tier full of 48 women, and not all 48 women wanted to be involved, so we had a little corner, and it was loud, and it was complicated, but we still did it because we all shared the same purpose of, you know, what we were trying to accomplish in there, which we did. And so shortly after that, I went to another facility, which had a Gogi campus, and we were 8 women in a dorm that were just sharing the same purpose. And I thought, you know, I can really see this working for myself and everybody else. I could see it working out there, and I just got this vision, an amazing vision and a dream that is just all coming true right now. Everything's coming true. Like, I can't even believe I'm here, and it's great. I can't believe it. I've traveled a little far, but it's great. The support of everybody has been amazing, and I just want everybody to know that if I can do it, you can do it. It all happens right here in your heart, how bad you want it, how bad you want to help yourself so you can help people. I was sharing a story yesterday about driving through my neighborhood about 3 years ago, thinking, this is the same thing every day, looking around me, same hood, same drama, same people sitting on their porches doing the same thing they do, me driving around doing the same thing I did. And I thought, this is never going to change. There's no jobs out here. There's nothing here but this. And now I drive through that neighborhood, I'm like, there's so much out here. There's so much to give. There's so much opportunity, and that's because I've changed. The streets haven't changed. The hood hasn't changed, but I've changed. So I just want everybody to know that, and I hope that a story like mine can inspire you to take this with you, because it is life-changing. It is a culture. It's more than just a program. It is a culture that you need to have it and take it out there, and it's going to make the world a better place. So I think that's all I have. But we're Gogi for life. Thank you.
Thank you. My name's actually Johnny, but I'll go for Jonathan. Welcome, everybody. It's great to be here. For me, what happened was I was a place in my life where I was okay spending the rest of my life in prison. I was okay getting high every day. I gave up hope. And I ended up in ADSEG for an assault. I ended up getting out. And I was like, I need to change. I need to change. And here comes Gogi. Incredible opportunity. So what I want to share with you is how Gogi works for me. So one thing is that I'm a recovering alcoholic and drug addict, criminal, recovering. And I still have criminal thoughts. I still think about using. I still think about getting high. So is there anybody in the audience who still has criminal thoughts or thinks negatively, or if you don't raise your hands? So for me, boss of my brain is something that comes up. And how that works for me is I recognize the thought. So I'm going to invite you guys into a little exercise real quick. And I'm going to ask you to count to 10 slowly in your mind. Slowly count to 10 in your mind. And then I'm going to ask you a question, which is, who are you? And I want you to say out loud, I'm the boss of my brain. So I want you to count slowly in your mind, and then I'm going to ask you the question, and you say out loud, I'm the boss of my brain. So please count quietly in your mind from 1 to 10. So who are you? Boss of my brain. So what happened to the county? It stopped. That's how it works with our criminal thinking too. Whether it's alcohol, drugs, whatever it may be, that's how it works. So you can say, I'm the boss of my brain. Maybe say your child's name. For those of you who have a higher power, say God. Whatever it is to stop that thinking. Because for me, my criminality, my addictions start with the thought. So another tool I want to share with you is called 5-second light switch. And I'm going to invite you into another exercise. So how that works is, being a recovering drug addict and alcoholic and criminal, these thoughts come up. And I sponsor other addicts. And there's a guy that I work with, and he's like, man, I really want to stop using. And there may be someone in the audience or someone watching who wants to stop using, who wants a better life. So what happens is I tell them, look, put your hand out. And I want to invite all of you guys to put your hand out as well. On each finger, I want you to tell yourself what matters the most on one hand. So for me, my sobriety is number 1. Getting out and spreading my mom's ashes over the ocean is number 2. Having a family, a house, a home, being able to give back to my community. And you may not be able to tell by looking at me, but I like to eat. So I want to eat something when I get out, whatever I want to eat. So for each of you, you decide what those 5 things are for you. So when it came to my partner that I'm helping with drug addiction and heroin, I have him put out his hand. He tells me the 5 things. And then I say, close your hand. So he closes his hand. And I said, so when somebody offers you a syringe of heroin, someone offers you a gun to go rob a bank, or gives you a knife to go stab somebody, What do you have to do with your hand? You have to open it. And when you open it, you're getting rid of all those things that you say matter the most to you. So this is a question. What matters most to you? For those of you who counted the things on your hand, was it getting high today? Was it stabbing somebody? So it's a constant reminder. And with my criminal thinking, something that comes up is, I want it right here, right now. And Gogi's taught me patience, to stop being so impulsive, and think about what matters the most to me. So, Coach Taylor and the rest of the Gogi family, thank you for everything you've done. My name is Johnny.
Welcome, Gogi community, CTF Soledad, peer coaches. I'm glad all of you guys could come here today. I see a lot of familiar faces out here. I'd like to first start by saying I came to prison at a very young age, and I didn't have any tools. And I was very angry and impulsive. And I still struggle with criminal thoughts, anger, and being impulsive today. But with these tools, it's helped me to maintain a positive outlook on life. And each and every one of you can do the same thing. It's all up to you. But you have to believe that you can, and you have to apply it in your own special way. Without belief or hope, you can find yourself just drifting impulsively through life, making bad decisions, and then blaming others for it later. I want to share a quick story with you. A few years ago, I was making a lot of positive choices, going to groups, college, working in the media center, and I came home one day and I was pulled out of my cell by a lieutenant saying, "You're missing a tool at work. Pack your stuff, you're going to the hole." I said, "But I wasn't at work today." And I remember in my mind started, blaming the system and everything was their fault. And I started having these impulsive thoughts. They were coming up again. To make a long story short, myself, Mr. Bob Mahoney, who's in here, and my friend Steve Schrader, who was found suitable for parole, was sent to ADSEG. I remember in that moment feeling so angry and so overwhelmed that I contemplated acting out towards the administration. I contemplated all of these negative thoughts just like I had done in the past when I was 16, when I was in YA, when I was at other prisons. And I caught myself in a moment. I began belly breathing. I could hear my fellow facilitators' voices. I could hear Coach Taylor's voice. I could hear my mother's voice. And I started going through 5-second light switch. And I remember telling Steve, who was next door to me, to just belly breathe, think positive, even though he was 10 days away from being found suitable to go home or having the governor take his day. And I remember saying to myself, there's 10 or 15 guys on these tiers in this hole that all know me, who have my face in the book of Gogi, who see me facilitating. Who am I to come in here crying and acting like the world owes me something when there's guys in this hole back here that are fighting many bigger struggles than what I was fighting? You had guys waiting on the DA, waiting to go to the SHU, all type of choices that they couldn't get out of. And I was just simply driving through for 2 weeks. But in that moment, I found myself also thinking more so about Steve and his struggle and his family and what he was going through. And it was in that moment that I made a choice to not play the victim and not make it all about me and not act like a child. And I found myself manning up and utilizing my tools to uplift Steve's spirits. And not only his, but mine, and having to write my mother and let them know that everything was okay. What I found out in that moment is that I can talk about being changed, being transformed. I can talk about all of these great things, going to the board and being found suitable. But in order to do that, I have to live it now. And I have to be willing to live it in the moment. When that crucial situation comes up, like Johnny was talking about, and your hand is open, and your homeboy tries to give you something, or whatever it may be, it's in those moments that you have to make the choice to be the boss of your brain, to be a follower, or to be a leader. Not when you're sitting in the gym and the cameras are on, or you're on the yard and everybody's watching you. It's about you making the right choice for you, continuously. And I can tell you it's not going to be easy. It hasn't been easy for me, nor am I perfect. But I can tell you this, each and every day that I wake up, I utilize my Gogi tools, and I mix them up. I use boss of my brain. I belly breathe. I think about 5-second light switch. And I find a moment each and every day to apply them, even when people don't even know that I'm applying them. Whether I'm playing sports, whether I'm in the cell, whether I'm going up and down the hallway, each and every day I'm practicing. Just like some of the greats have, like Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan. They had to practice each and every day to perfect their craft. And I just want to share that with you guys and just say that each and every one of you in here have value, you're special, there's hope, and this isn't going to be our life forever. You can make any choice that you choose to make. Just make sure that you're being the boss of your brain and not someone else being the boss of your brain. Thank you.
It's a lot of faces in this audience that I know and that you all know me. I entered prison when I was a teenager. In my ways of thinking, I thought they were rational. I came into prison with 3 life sentences. And I thought I had it all together. And I did have it all together. And I was the boss of my brain. But my ways of thinking was all irrational. And I was selfish, and I was angry, and I was bitter. I always wanted a positive life, but it was just the image that I built for myself and what others thought about me. It pulled me away from what I wanted. The honesty to say, I didn't have that courage to want that positive life because of the image that I built for myself. But I ran across a lot of friends that found that ultimate freedom, that also believed in what I believed in, and told me that I can be whatever I want to be, but I had to find that courage to be who I wanted to be. So I was starting to be the boss of my brain, as well as allowing the irrational part to be the most percentile of what I was doing. I faced a lot of trials and tribulations while growing up in prison. And it was through my negative activities that got me through that. But never did I think that through my actions of life that I was having my family and the people that love me settle for less. So I ran across Coach Taylor as being on the executive body of Bragg, and I read her book. And a lot of the tools in the book was something that I can relate to, because when I was growing up, I was told, use your brain, breathe. You need to have positive thoughts. Stop talking negative. It was things that my mother told me when I was growing up. If it wasn't for Coach Taylor hounding me to share my knowledge, do the homework, I wouldn't be standing in front of you right now today. Right now today, I am the boss of my brain. I do have the courage to take that image that I built, to be able to put that mask on that wall, to know how I talk to it when it come up in my life. Nothing about me has changed. It's just that my thought process has transformed itself to be aware when my old habits and when my emotions come up. Without the boss of our brain, we would stop loving ourselves. And we will allow ourselves to put ourselves in detrimental situations to where we think we loving ourselves, but we not. Out of my teenage years of growing up in the street, couldn't nobody tell me that I didn't love myself. Couldn't nobody tell me that I didn't love my family. But if I love myself and I love my family, I never would have been a part of genocide. I never would have been a part of allowing somebody to kill me for something that has constantly changed over the decades since I've been in prison. So it's that point we come in our life to where we have to ask ourselves, what is important? Is our image important, or is the reality of what our parents had as us growing up important? Today I'm proud to say that my name is Reginald. My name is not Red, my name is not whatever the streets gave me. My name is Reginald, and I'm proud of that because I'm able to share something that we all might have went through. We all have something to relate through, because it was a root cause that created us to grab an image and to build off that image. Now I have the courage to stand in front of you and say that every day is a struggle for me. Every day is a struggle for me to maintain my strength to do more positive than to do more negative. I put more energy into negativity in my life to when I look at how my life was built, I wonder if I would have been positive, what would I be now? But if I wouldn't have went through this situation, I wouldn't have this knowledge. I wouldn't have this awareness. And I pretty much probably wouldn't have this courage to stand in front of you and say, I understand. One thing about being in prison, we got one thing in common. And that one thing is that it hurts. We deprived ourselves of understanding what ultimate freedom is because we choose something that was instant. Now I want to be on that turtle, because on that turtle, I can watch life as it unfolds. When I was on that Greyhound, I thought I watched life, but I let it all pass by me. To where now all my memories is memories of growing up in prison and memories of looking back to how it was when I was a child. Being in the boss of my brain, being in the rational state of mind that I'm in today, it allows me to make it through every second, minute, and hour. And one thing, nothing in life is easy. And nothing in life is not going to be given to you. You have to want to take control of your life. You have to want to dig deep and grab that courage. And you have to be wanting and willing to accept that I have these faults. One of the things I used to always be shy about was that I was born cross-sided. And people used to talk about me. Well, that stigma right there, I own that. Because that's been a part of me for 45 years. That stigma right there gave me the courage to own that, to where if I can own that, I can own anything that I'm faced with. This right here is a hidden university for us to find ourselves and to be able to deliver ourselves to where nobody don't have to wonder who you are, because you're willing to tell them, this is who I am. We had to take the time to discover who we were and look at who we are and deliver who I am. And a lot of people know me from when I first came. And I wasn't like this when I first came. I was hard-headed. I was angry. And I thought it was cool. But I'm going to tell you something. When reality hits you, you don't have nobody but yourself to deal with that reality. You don't have nobody but yourself to stay in tune with being the boss of your brain. And I'm gonna tell you something about me. I lost my whole family being in prison. One thing, I got the strength to talk about it. And I talk about it because that's the reality of what I gave away for what I believed in. When we gonna stop believing in something that don't believe in us, when we gonna start believing in ourselves. To believe in ourselves, we have to be the boss of our brain. Thank you.
When I first came to Gogi, I came here because I thought this was, they said, getting out by going in. I thought this was a program for some lawyers coming in to talk to us and tell us how to get out of prison, because I really wanted out of here. I don't like this place. I love you guys, I don't like this place. I got in here and I heard Coach Taylor, Coach Lee come up here and give the same thing that they just told you about. And I said to myself, I need to know more about this. My first peer coach, sitting right here, Matthew Edwards. I came and I sat right over here somewhere and I listened. I was nervous, I'm not gonna tell you about that experience, but it wasn't nice for me. He knows what I'm talking about. But the tools were so simple. I was tired of doing what I had been doing all my life. What had it got me? To where I'm standing here now. That's what it got me. The choices that I made, the decisions that I made, had a rippling effect that I never even thought about. Never even considered that my family would be doing without me for a life sentence. I was tired of it. I had grown tired of doing the same thing over and over and over again with the same result. And so, as I sat here and listened at Matt, Mr. Edwards, teach over here these Gogi tools, and I said, wow, these tools are really simple. And so I got the old form that we were using, and I took it in and I started doing my Gogi studies. It was a weekly study. And Coach Lee, you remember, I had a problem with, I think it was positive thoughts. They asked a question that I couldn't answer, and I said, well, forget it, and I threw it off. The next thing I know, they had another Gogi seminar. And I came and I told Coach Taylor, hey, look, I'm sorry I didn't get my homework done. I gave her an excuse. I don't know how to answer this question. She said, you know what? Make it your own. I said, hey, I can do that. I made the question my own, and I answered it. And I continued to turn in my homework. Eventually, I got a chrono. Piece of paper said I completed this. But what felt good was in here. I knew I had completed it. I knew I had done something good. As I look out here now, I see a bunch of familiar G5. G5. Yeah. I see a bunch of guys that I taught these Gogi tools to. And I'm glad you're here. I am really proud, especially of you, Gary. But Gogi, as our chairman said, is more than just the tools. This is a way of life. When you get tired of doing the same old things, waking up with an attitude, looking around saying, oh, I'm upset about this. I'm upset because the CO put me on the wall. Oh, well, whose choice was it to get on the wall? Because if you hadn't have been here, you wouldn't have had to get on that wall. So you made the choice from the beginning. When you committed whatever crime you committed. When you made that decision to go out and rob or sell drugs or do whatever. Whatever it was you chose to do was when you made that decision to get put on that wall at their leisure, so to speak. But what are you doing now to keep from having them tell you, well, get on the wall? It's all about your choices your decisions. Don't give them a reason. Simple. With that, Matt.
I heard you over there. So talk about life changes. Wow. Over the last 5 years, I am still amazed at how much my life has changed. Something Coach Kathy was saying earlier about driving through the hood kind of brought me back a little bit. And I remember just going through the same repeated cycles in my life for so long. I was just always repeating the same actions over and over and over again. And I realized that, yeah, I was the boss of my emotional brain. I just kept responding to my emotions over and over again. And it was that repeating cycle that just kept me locked in that prison. So I was never going to get out of that until I decided to be the leader for my own life. When I made that choice to start looking at things outside of that little box that I was living in. At that time, I was able to meet Coach Taylor, Coach Lee, David, Maria, when Gogi first came to this prison, and I was blown away. I was thinking, you know, these answers I was looking for were so simple. They were right in front of my face, but I wasn't looking in the right place. I was still wrapped up in this little box. And it dawned on me that when I decided to be the creator and start looking at things in a positive light, realizing that I have other options in my life, that I can start to break down those walls, break those cycles, and be the boss of my smart brain. And it was from that point that I decided to finish my college degree, be a good father, be a good grandfather, be a good companion, be a good human, and follow what I know could be the best that I can make for bread, for me in my life. Because if I don't do that, then I can't be the best I can be for you in your lives. You see me walking around here all the time with a smile on my face. And Coach Taylor said it herself, ultimate freedom. I can't even wipe the thing off my face. It's just stuck, you know, and I'm good with that because I can be myself again. I've shared with my groups over the years that I try to reflect on what it was like to be a 5-year-old boy again when I was free of all the trauma and drama and everything that I created in my mind about what my life was. I didn't have that when I was that age. And I try to remember what it's like so that I can be that way now. And the smile on my face shows it. You know, the drama's gone when I decided to be the creator of my life. So I ask you guys to decide for yourselves to be the creators of your own life. The rest of it is irrelevant. Those little things that you've attached yourself to, those little prisons, they're only there if you allow them to be there. And it's your choice that you can get rid of those. You can choose to be whoever you want to be. And I know you've probably heard it in your life. You can be whoever you want to be, believe me. I'm standing here and I believe it. I know it. I am who I want to be. I'm free. So I ask you guys again to give yourself that opportunity for yourselves. Be everything that you can be. And I thank you for being here. Thank you, guys.
Bueno, el Gogi, para mí, yo creo mucho en el cambio de los pensamientos, las palabras y nuestras acciones. Porque si uno no cambia la manera que piensa uno, no va a cambiar nada más. So, primero tenemos que cambiar lo que está pasando aquí adentro. Y las palabras también ayudan mucho porque en muchas situaciones, si no usamos las palabras correctas, el resultado puede ser un resultado malo. En vez de usar palabras positivas, pues el resultado puede ser positivo. Aquí en este ambiente, pues muchas veces uno tiene situaciones donde tiene que responder una persona en una manera positiva. Pero como les digo, todo empieza aquí, en la mente. Primero los pensamientos positivos, palabras positivas y de ahí llegan las acciones positivas. Y para mí eso es muy importante, es algo que a mí me ha funcionado desde un principio, el cambio de los pensamientos. So to me, something that's very important is the thoughts, what's happening in our minds, changing the way we think. So positive thoughts for me is very important. Positive words, because if you don't know how to respond in a certain situation, if you use negative words, the outcome can be negative. But if you learn to use positive words, the situation will be a lot better. And for me, those three are, to me, the tools that I like the most. I like all 12 tools, but those three are favorites of mine. Change the way we think, change the way we speak, and the actions will follow. So, thank you.
Buenos días, buenas tardes a todos. Yo estoy participando desde 2011 y quiero decirles que Gogi ha sido el grupo que ha transformado mi vida. No le llamo cambio, le cambio transformación porque me ha ayudado a mirar diferente, a pensar diferente. En el pasado, 4 de 5 pensamientos eran negativos en mi parte. Lo mismo, 4 de 5 palabras que decía eran negativas. 4 de 5 acciones que hacía eran negativas todo el tiempo. Era una persona que estaba presa físicamente y estaba más presa internamente. Me di cuenta que era un mal compañero, era un mal celi, tenía problemas en todo, en el deporte donde jugaba tenía problemas. Nunca estaba consciente de las 3 partes del cerebro, la inteligente, la emocional y los viejos hábitos. Todo el tiempo me basaba en lo emocional y los viejos hábitos. Llegó al punto que yo decía que eso era lo que era. Esta es la persona que yo soy. Cuando me di cuenta que podía tomar mis propias decisiones, llegué a darme cuenta que esa no era la persona que yo era. Basado en las decisiones que yo tomaba, llegué a ser esa persona, pero yo era responsable porque yo decidí vivir ese estilo de vida. Cuando me di cuenta de todo este poder que tienen estas herramientas, porque son unas herramientas simples y sencillas que tienen un poder extraordinario, que pueden transformar la vida de cualquiera de los que estamos aquí sentados. Como mencionaron la GOGI TV y varias personas, estamos en una prisión física, pero es peor cuando estamos presos internamente, y eso es lo peor. Esa libertad no la da ni una mujer, ni drogas, ni dinero, ni nada te lo va a dar esa libertad. Y eso es un trabajo individual de cada uno de nosotros que tenemos que hacer el esfuerzo para lograr esa libertad interna. Estando en la prisión podemos estar libres. El oficial me puede decir, espera, quédate parado ahí en la pared y le voy a obedecer, pero el oficial no puede decidir cómo voy a pensar. Yo tomo la decisión si pensar de malas, estar esperando de mal humor, enojado, o tomar una decisión y esperar positivamente. De las dos maneras voy a esperar. Es decisión mía cómo voy a esperar. Y en cualquier circunstancia es lo mismo. Con los compañeros en la escuela, en la yarda, en el deporte. Nadie puede decidir cómo vamos a responder a la situación. Cuando estamos conscientes de estas herramientas simples y sencillas, podemos tomar mejores decisiones. Vamos a tener paz, tranquilidad. Podemos ir a dormirnos tranquilos sabiendo que actuamos positivo este día. La herramienta ¿Qué tal si? Nos da la oportunidad. Desde que me levanto en la mañana yo puedo decir cómo va a ser mi día. Mi comportamiento, como despierte, cuando hable con mi celi, como piense en la mañana positivamente, mi día va a ser un día positivo, productivo. Ahora tomo el tiempo para pensar los 5 segundos. Si lo que voy a decir es poderoso, productivo y es positivo, lo voy a decir. Si no me detengo, tomo la pausa y corrijo mis pensamientos. Eso es lo importante que tengo, que los pensamientos positivos son solamente para mí, para crearlos. Nadie puede crear sus pensamientos por mí. Pero tengo que tener unos pensamientos de antemano, porque los pensamientos malos siempre van a estar ahí. Pero cuando viene el pensamiento malo, tengo 2 pensamientos nuevos y tomo una decisión. Un pensamiento viejo, tengo 2 pensamientos nuevos. En ese momento tomo una decisión y elegir el pensamiento nuevo. Estar preparado de antemano para cualquier situación. Hay situaciones que las provocamos nosotros mismos y hay otras situaciones inesperadas. Para las 2 situaciones tenemos que estar preparados. Y las herramientas de hoy son simples y sencillas y nos dan esa oportunidad de aplicarlas a tu propia manera, como tú puedas, como te trabajen a ti, tienen un poder extraordinario estas herramientas. Yo los invito a que encuentren esa libertad interna, porque como dijeron antes, esa libertad interna cuando la logramos, la libertad física llega tarde o temprano, porque se va a notar, la gente va a mirar el cambio en ti, tu celi, los compañeros van a mirar comportamientos diferentes, tu caminar a diario muestra quién eres, de la manera que hablamos, que nos comportamos, dice mucho de quiénes somos. Y si usamos este tipo de herramientas a diario en nuestra vida, se va a notar y se va a mirar la diferencia de cada uno de nosotros. Ya no vamos a andar con los puños tensos, ya no vamos a andar de malas, no vamos a andar estresados, contestando de malas a los compañeros que no tienen nada que ver con nuestros problemas. Cuando decidimos hacer ese cambio, esa transformación de nosotros mismos, que podemos transformar nuestros pensamientos. Eso es lo más poderoso que tiene, que solamente nosotros podemos tomar esas decisiones. Nadie puede tomar esas decisiones más que nosotros. Yo creo que todos tenemos ese poder. Fuimos creados con ese poder interior para tomar esas decisiones. Y Gogi nos ofrece algo maravilloso para cada uno de nosotros. Es un cambio que te va a dar una libertad interna y te va a dar la libertad externa. Vas a tener paz, tranquilidad en todos momentos de tu vida. Vas a ser una persona diferente. Vas a notar el cambio en tu vida. Menos estrés. Vas a dormir a gusto, tranquilo. Vas a ser mejor compañero, mejor célibe, mejor hijo, mejor esposo, mejor padre. Y que esto no termina aquí. Cuando tengamos esa libertad física, puedes ser una persona productiva. No importa cómo esté el mundo, cómo esté la colonia, el barrio, cómo esté. No podemos cambiar las circunstancias, pero sí podemos cambiar la manera de pensar y mirar y percibir el mundo. Y esa es decisión de cada uno de nosotros. Los invito que tomen esto en cuenta y que lo reciban con una mente abierta y van a mirar una diferencia cada día en su vida. Muchas gracias y que Dios los bendiga.
Buenos días, mi nombre es Juan. First of all, I want to say thank you for all support for us. I'm speaking English very good, but I try. Gracias a la comunidad en español por estar aquí. Para mí mi experiencia en Gogi fue en el 2009. Fue la primera vez que tuve un programa de autoayuda. Y la verdad, al principio yo no le puse mucha atención al grupo. Y volví a regresar hasta el 2014. Gracias a Dios, en este programa me di cuenta y pude identificar mis defectos de carácter. Mis herramientas favoritas para mí son las herramientas de poder seguir adelante. Yo era una persona que era una persona irresponsable, que no tomaba responsabilidad por mis acciones. Siempre me la pasaba justificando, minimizando. Sin embargo, cuando tomé esta herramienta, me di cuenta de que efectivamente yo podía ser responsable con mi vida. Era una persona que vivía mucho en el dolor, en el resentimiento. Empecé a dejar ir todo ese resentimiento y empezar a perdonar. Solamente utilizando estas 3 herramientas de seguir adelante fue como pude empezar a utilizar las herramientas de la creación. Ahora, gracias a Dios, utilizo la herramienta de What If. ¿Qué tal si tomo la responsabilidad? ¿Qué tal si regreso al estilo de vida adictivo que yo tenía? Eso me hace pensar, me hace crear conciencia en mi mente y poder estar seguro de lo que quiero hacer. Utilizo la herramienta de Reality Check. Eso me hace pensar y me identifico de que yo no soy una persona perfecta, de que voy a tener recaídas, sin embargo, me puedo levantar. Di 10 pasos hacia adelante, doy 2 hacia atrás, pero sigo adelante. Me levanto, sigo en el mismo camino y voy al objetivo que yo quiero a llegar. Y mi herramienta favorita es Ultimate Freedom, libertad final. Gracias a Dios, con el conocimiento que me dio Gogi y todos los programas en los que he participado, ahora puedo compartir el mensaje y compartir mis experiencias personales para que otras personas se den cuenta y puedan cambiar su vida. Eso es todo lo que les puedo decir y mi experiencia en Gogi ha sido maravillosa y le quiero dar las gracias a Coach Taylor y a todos los coaches porque me impresiona de que personas que no me conocen hacen todo lo posible para que yo tenga una rehabilitación y pueda readaptarme a la sociedad. Con eso los dejo y muchas gracias.
Hey, it's good to see you all here today. Thanks, Gogi, for coming up, Coach Taylor, Kathy, and Lee, and the camera crew. We appreciate your time and energy. I allowed myself, what I just wanted to talk about is I allowed myself to grow up with a lot of fear and insecurities, a lot of shame and guilt in my life. I came to prison when I was 33 years old, and I met my higher power, Jesus Christ. And then I met Gogi. And they taught me these 12 tools, these simple 12 tools that helped me to make positive decisions to help me to get out of my internal imprisonment of fears and insecurities. And I started using these tools. And today I have a choice. We all have a choice. And I make that choice every morning to wake up with thoughts in my brain. And if I have any negative thoughts, I use my 5-second light switch and I just cast them out. I like the TWAs, they're called positive thoughts, positive words, and positive actions. I also wake up every morning with positive thoughts, which leads me to positive words, which leads me to make positive actions. And I go about my day and I share the Gogi tools. And if you really want to be emotionally set free, eternally set free, and have that ultimate freedom that we're all talking about, it's true. I have it today. I'm very thankful for the Gogi tools. I'm thankful for all you being here, my peer coaches, Coach Taylor, Coach Lee, and Coach Kathy again. These tools have helped me to make simple, positive decisions every day, and they have set me free. Lately, I've been using belly breathing a lot. And when I belly breathe, it just seems to calm me down. I'm aware of myself, my emotions. I'm aware of other people around me. And when something comes up, I'm so calm and cool and relaxed, I can just make that right choice and that positive decision, which we all want to make. So I just thank you for allowing me to speak today. And I pray that you guys will all sign up for this Gogi class and take the course and learn the tools. It will be very beneficial for you and your loved ones. Thank you.
Buenas tardes a todos. Mi nombre es Francisco Fonseca. Yo soy uno de los co-facilitadores de los grupos en español. Y pues, antes que nada, quiero darle las gracias a Coach Taylor, a Coach Lucero, a Coach Lee y a todas las personas que hacen posible que nosotros tengamos este tipo de grupos de autoayuda. Yo vine a Gogi hace exactamente 2 años, para ser por ahí así como el 2013. La verdad, cuando yo supe del grupo no tenía ni idea de qué se trataba. Vi un flyer en el bulletin board ahí y me llamó la atención el nombre. El nombre fue algo que, bueno, Getting Out by Going In. Fue algo que yo también, como muchos, pensé que era cómo salir de la prisión. Cuando vengo aquí me encontré con otra realidad. Y la primera semana, que fue la patrón de mi cerebro, What's on My Brain, me llamó mucho la atención porque fue cuando me vine a dar cuenta de que los deseos de mi corazón y los pensamientos de mi mente estaban desalineados por completo. Siempre estaba actuando de una manera irracional, como muchas veces, como muchos ya lo han mencionado aquí, y me di cuenta que tenía que arreglar eso y que podía arreglarlo porque la herramienta me estaba dando la guía, me estaba enseñando cómo poder trabajar con mi cerebro. Voy a compartir algo con ustedes, por ejemplo, de que yo soy una persona, siempre he sido muy corajudo, desde que estaba afuera, siempre he tenido una persona que tengo problemas del enojo, ¿no? Y dentro de mí yo no quería ser así, yo quería cambiar, yo quería, ya quiero cambiar esto porque a mí me estaba destruyendo por dentro. Y yo sentía ese deseo, esa necesidad de un cambio y no la podía encontrar. Cada que enfrentaba una situación que era no placentera para mí, reaccionaba a lo menos agrediendo a las otras personas, a veces verbalmente, ¿verdad? Y esa era mi manera de ser, y era un patrón que yo ya tenía, que traía por tiempo, voy a traer mucho tiempo a Sina, y yo lo quería cambiar, pero no llevaba. Como la verdad no sabía ni por dónde empezar, ni nada de eso, estaba todo confundido. Cuando llego aquí la primera vez, ahí fue donde dije, ¿sabes qué? Esto es lo que yo necesito. Yo no sabía cómo trabajar mi cerebro. Cuando me di cuenta que tenía otras opciones, dije, ok, yo siempre he estado operando bajo lo emocional. Cuando alguien hace algo, yo respondo sin pensar. Necesito cambiar eso, necesito ir de lo emocional al área inteligente, que es la que en realidad es la que marca la pauta. Cuando comencé, los primeros días pues seguía igual, me ganaba mi forma de ser y recaía otra vez. Reaccionaba de la misma manera, me frustraba un poco, pero continué. Y comencé a ver cambios en mí, que mi cerebro comenzó a trabajar de otra manera, comenzó a funcionar de una manera que ya me detenía para poder hablar o reaccionar. Tomaba mi tiempo, comencé a usar lo que son el interruptor de 5 segundos, comencé a respirar y fue ahí donde yo comencé a calmar mis impulsos. En realidad, si yo no hubiera venido a Gogi, creo que no tuviera el valor ni de estar aquí enfrente de ustedes a hablar. Yo era una persona también muy vergonzosa, que siempre, si iba a los grupos, tenía que estarme escondiendo, estaba en las líneas de atrás, que no hicieran preguntas porque no quería contestar. Tenía ese temor, no podía salir de mí. Yo también lo quería hacer así, no era algo que me gustara hacer así. Yo quisiera hacer como los demás, pero no podía, no tenía ese valor. Entonces, cuando comencé a trabajar estas 3 herramientas, comencé a yo mismo impulsarme, salirme de mi área donde estaba confortable todo el tiempo. Salí empujando, sabes que tienes que hacerlo, tienes que pararte ahí, tienes que manejar, no tienes que dejar que las emociones te ganen, tienes que pararte ahí enfrente y hablar como los demás lo hacen. Y eso es lo que me ha permitido estar aquí enfrente de todos ustedes, aunque temblando un poco, pero no como la primera vez. La primera vez sí estaba todo nervioso, no sabía ni qué decir, no sabía ni cómo, ni por dónde empezar. Entonces, cuando comencé a trabajar lo que es patrón de mi cerebro, la respiración estomacal y el interruptor de 5 segundos, fue cuando he podido controlar todas mis emociones y he podido controlar mi nerviosismo, he comenzado a salir de donde yo estaba, puedo hablar un poco mejor ante el público, ante todos los que están aquí, y es gracias a las herramientas que ella y todos los prisioneros pusieron juntas. A mí me han venido a servir las primeras 3 porque era con lo que yo más batallaba. Eso era lo que a mí me hacía no tener una vida en realidad. Porque yo vivía pero no tenía una vida. Tenía, como ellos acaban de decir, muchos de ellos aquí acaban de decir, estaba prisionero de mis mismos debilidades, de mis mismos miedos, de todo. Era una persona que yo pienso que por eso era también, como era inseguro, también era agresivo de esa manera, ¿me entiendes? A lo menos era mi defensa, no tenía otra defensa. Y cuando comencé a trabajar lo que es el patrón de mi cerebro, ahora yo puedo decir cómo me voy a comportar en cierto momento. Ahorita puedo estar hablando aquí con ustedes porque yo decidí, si me pasan ahorita, si me llaman, yo tengo que estar con calma y poder articular algo que les quiera decir a ustedes, les quiera compartir cómo Gogi me ha enseñado, qué es lo que Gogi me ha dado. Gracias a Dios voy mejorando. Todavía tengo muchos miedos, muchos temores, pero voy saliendo adelante con la ayuda de Dios y con las herramientas de Gogi. Gracias.
I'm Rico, just Rico, and yo soy el jefe, el patrón de mi cerebro. I'm the boss of my brain. I also own today, and you know, in prison and as in the world, we tend to play the blame game a lot. We want to talk about how bad the government is, how bad the police is, and the justice system, and everybody else that we think oppresses us. As a matter of fact, we bond on that level of hatred, of suffering, and you know, shared misery. You hear it first thing in the morning when we get up, they release us for chow in the morning, and the conversations that take place. The first thing that I hear is somebody criticizing somebody else, you know, for how bad it is, another day in prison. But you know what? I don't know if that's all true anymore, man. I think there's another way we can relate. You know, sometimes our inner critic says, positive words, man. Why you want to speak positive? It's like it's soft. You know, you don't want to be soft. Why? It's pie in the sky, you know, rose-colored glasses. And what's wrong with that? You know, that's my question. That's what I ask. I challenge myself. I think we can relate on another level. I think we can relate as men, as women, as people, as human beings. We can relate on stuff that's good. We can point out and focus our brain towards what's good in this situation. Positive words, positive thoughts, positive words, and positive actions, the tools of choice. remind me that no matter what's happening in the world, I always have a choice. I can be the author of my destiny, of my fate, of my reality. What is this world we live in? What is this existence that we have? This suit that we're wearing, skin and material and cotton and polyester. It's all what we make it. We make this world what we want it to be. You know, I don't know if anybody else heard this morning. First thing I got up, I turned on the radio and I heard on NPR a report. Did anybody hear that about the Pope visiting prisons? Well, I guess he's been doing a tour visiting prisons, the current Pope. And one of the things that they quoted him saying was that it's such a shame that all these people have ended up in these places and that it was a result of their negative decisions. If they could only make positive choices. So like the Pope is doing Gogi and he doesn't even know it. And it was just a beautiful thing. I mean, first thing this morning, you know, we had the seminar this morning. There's always a little nervousness that we experience, you know, in addressing the public and coming together like this, especially with, you know, Hollywood all around us. But, you know, that was a confirmation for me that this is where I need to be, and this is a worthwhile endeavor. Gogi for me is a way of life, as a way to rock through life. I mean, this for me is flow. And I just feel like there's going to be changes not only in this community at CTF, but in the system-wide in California and beyond, and possibly throughout the world. Belly breathing is really important for me, not just because it just looks like I just ate lunch, but because when I was born, I was a bubble boy. I came into the world with lung problems, and so for a short amount of time, I was in an incubator. Throughout my childhood, I had pneumonia and different kinds of infections and problems breathing, bronchitis and this and that. I smoked everything I could get my hands on. Even when I was hacking to death and ready to pass out, I was still, you know, hitting something, whatever. Inhaling something I shouldn't have been. It's just amazing. I'm grateful. I have true gogitude that I'm here today breathing, that each moment, that each breath that I take is truly a miracle. I'm here for taking somebody's life with my own hands. I took the very last breath I ever breathed. And so belly breathing to me is like every second, every moment, every breath, and every inhalation is redemption to me. It's grace. It's forgiveness. My tools of my body are my belly breathing, the ability to renew every single cell of my body, to give it a vamp, to take a hit that's for free. Every second I want it, and I don't have to pay anybody, no debts. And in my 5-second light switch, I have an old thought. I'm up here, I'm nervous. It's not a normal situation. And by the count of 5, I can do my new action. And for me, it could be anything, but in 5 seconds, we do something in yoga called an eagle. And it's basically a stress relieving position. It takes away a lot of the stress in the arms and the neck. And so my 5-second life switch is an eagle. It's a Gogi eagle. And it works for me, and I feel better now. It's a blessing to be able to share with you today, and Gogi is real. And keep on Gogi rocking. We can. Si se puede.
In 2012, I was found suitable. Well, in preparing for that hearing, I had just been to a hearing in 2011, and while preparing for that hearing, I was looking for new things to do, to take to the board, because I felt like I had already done every program they had here, and was looking for a new program to do. So a good friend of mine, Brett Haley, had told me about a program that he had been doing called Gogi. I knew nothing about it. I thought the name was kind of funny, but I thought I'd do it anyway. When I started reading through this stuff, I thought, wow, this is really in-depth stuff. It really got me to look at who I had been and who I wanted to be. So over that period of 5 weeks, I actually did the entire program. And I still think I need to apologize to you for sending you all of that writing that somebody had to read in the mailroom. I completed it. I went to the board, and I could rattle off all of the tools of Gogi. The commissioner, who was Arthur Anderson, in fact, stopped me when I got to positive words because he said, okay, I get it. You know this stuff. So I got found suitable. Thought everything was great. Over the next period of the next 4 or 5 months, I was in bliss because I was getting ready to go home. I thought nothing could change that. So I didn't really have an opportunity to really experience the tools in a negative situation in my life, how they would work for me. So as Ed mentioned, when I was 10 days from either a governor's decision or signing my paperwork to go home, I was placed in ADSEG for a missing tool. A lot of you that know me remember that. Bob was right there with me. And I now had an opportunity to use these new tools. The problem was I wasn't thinking about tools. I was thinking only about myself. I wasn't even thinking about my family. I was thinking about poor me. Here I am sitting on a parole date. They put me in the hole. Lieutenant Ramon, who's sitting in the back there, happens to be the man who signed the order to place me in the hole. Hello, Lieutenant. But I was blessed when I got placed in ADSEG. Hopefully, not many of you know about ADSEG here, O-Wing. But when I got placed on the first floor in O-Wing, my next-door neighbor was Ed, Matthew Edwards. And he could hear, I think, through the wall that I wasn't doing well. I was not belly breathing. In fact, I was hyperventilating. I was literally sitting in there just, my life is over, my life is over. They're going to take my date. I'm never going to survive this. I'm going to die. That's what I was thinking. And Ed came over to the wall closest to where my cell was, and he just leaned over, he said, "Steve, belly breathe." What he probably doesn't know, and I don't think I've ever shared with him, is that saved my life when he told me that. So I started doing that. I started belly breathing, and things started to get a little bit better. Started thinking a little more clearly. But I still was not doing real well. I was still being selfish, thinking only of myself. So a couple of days into this little trip to ADSEG, we got sent to the 3rd tier. And I think by the grace of God, Ed was placed right next to me again. And again, he came to that wall next to my cell, and again he said, "Steve, use your Gogi tools, belly breathe." So you know what? I started doing that. At the time, I couldn't sleep. I was miserable. All these negative thoughts were going through my head. So I laid down, and I took a deep breath. Things started to get a little better. I took another one. And I started thinking, wait a minute. I haven't done anything wrong. I'm in ADSEG for an investigation for a missing tool. I haven't done anything wrong. All of this negative thinking I've been doing is for nothing. I'm not guilty of anything. So why am I stressing on this? Why am I tripping on this? It's not anything that I've done. And then I started thinking, wait a minute, what were some of those other tools? Oh yeah, boss of my brain. I realized that all the emotions that I was having, the anger, the fear, the frustration, that was controlling what I was thinking. That was sending me back to my old thought patterns, which were be miserable, blame everybody else, be selfish. So I started thinking of a new way to act. And I thought of some of the other tools. I thought a 5-second light switch. And I thought, okay, so every time one of these bad thoughts come up, what can I do? And my good friend Ed, who was right next door, gave me another idea. He said, exercise. So every time I started thinking negatively again, I did some push-ups. I did some squats. I did whatever I could to take me out of that pattern. That changed my thought patterns to positive. I started thinking positive things. I asked for some books from some neighbors and I started reading. Changed my whole outlook. So here I still am, in prison. I've been to 2 parole hearings since I was found suitable and been denied. But you know what? I'm free today. I'm no longer in the prison that I was in. And a lot of it is due to that trip in ADSEG. Because before that, I don't think I was prepared to go home. I think if I had gotten released, things may not have turned out real well for me. So when I got out of ADSEG, one of the things that I got in the mail was I wrote to Gogi and let them know what had happened. And one of the things I got was a card from Coach Taylor saying, "You're still going to go home." And when I got denied a year later at the parole board, I wrote to Coach Lee and I wrote to Coach Taylor. And I got a nice letter back and I got another card that said, "You're still going to go home." And I have all of those cards and I look at them all the time. And I remind myself that there's still hope. So this program changed my whole outlook because today, I'm not perfect. I still lose my temper. I still mess up. I still yell at people and do a lot of stupid things. But today, when those things happen, when I do those things, when I think about it later, I go back and I think about what tools I should have used and how next time that happens, I will be the boss of my brain. I won't let that other person think for me. I will use belly breathing to take my time and see what occurs as a better opportunity, a better decision to make. So this program has changed my life, has transformed me from that old person that I was into somebody who, as Reggie said, can stand here in front of you and tell you that you don't have to remain in the prison that I was in and that some of you may still be in, because these walls are not what keep us in prison. You can be free right now today to make decisions for yourself, to be who you want to be, and not let somebody else tell you and dictate to you what they want you to be. Thank you.
Change the world, instead he's doing time, running around blind, such a beautiful mind. He can change the world, instead